The Stars star and the Illini advance to round two. Lockdown Illini, let's go.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome one, welcome all to a post-game edition of Locked On Illini. Today's episode is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Need one now? Grab a 5-Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. And energized is what we all need to be today after watching that round one. Just a thorough, all-around, fantastic game by the Illini. An 86-73 victory over the Xavier Musketeers, who, let's be honest, didn't give up. They never let up. They were simply just not the better team today. And when Illinois plays like they do today, I mean, you're talking about they can win Sunday and they can win the following weekend. That's just how good this team when the Stars are starring. And I mean, okay, I'm curious on your guys' thoughts because after that Maryland game, I joked around like, hey, just tell me who in the second segment you want me to talk about as a guy who had an average game, because I don't know who the possible MVP could be. Today, you could legit, I'm looking at the box score right now, 4 guys could have been the MVP of today's game. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Who do you think is the MVP of today's game? It's a game where, again, you got to give credit to the staff. And the coaching staff did their homework. They went through Tommy early in that game. I know a lot of us were probably a little bit nervous early in that game, shooting as many 3-pointers as we did. But guess what? Illinois hit 12 3-pointers. Illinois is, 11-0? Undefeated. Let's just say undefeated when they hit at least 11 3-pointers. And guess what? They hit 12 today. And 12 out of 30. So again, you're talking about pretty solid 3-point percentage there. They took care of business. It's one of those, you never know, right? I mean, we'd watched Xavier play just a couple of days ago, and I was more worried. I knew Illinois was a more talented team, but I say that a lot. But the window for Illinois to lose is always so big because of their vulnerabilities. But again, I'm going to give credit to the coaching staff because they minimized those vulnerabilities today. They put the ball in Kasparas' hand. They put the ball in Will Riley's hand. Every time a shot went up, there was 5 guys in white jerseys who attacked the glass to get the rebound. And ultimately, I'm taking a look here, 42-23 rebound advantage. Did I read that right? 42-23 rebounding advantage. When you give Illinois that drastic of a rebounding advantage and they shoot a decent percentage from 3-point land, good night. Game over. Thanks for coming. And speaking of thanks for coming, thank you to all of the the Illini members who made it to Milwaukee today because, hey, we heard you. You guys were loud in that arena and just waiting for a chance to erupt. And you finally did in that second half when Will Riley, a star is born. And, I'll talk a little bit more about him in that second half or in the second segment. But I wanted to give credit to that coaching staff today. They had the guys ready. At no point today did Illinois look a little overwhelmed by the moment, which is what I was fearing because it's such a young team, because it's got such so little tournament experience. This is a completely different atmosphere. It's March Madness. We've seen upsets happen, and a lot of us were worried about do they really understand the magnitude of these sort of games, the atmosphere? But this is where, again, Illinois had a very favorable draw, being able to go up to Milwaukee. A lot of Illini fans there. We had a couple members of the Locked On Illini Discord who were there, who were sending pictures. By the way, if you're not in the Discord, the link should be in the description. We had a ball today. Just during the game, discussing what we're watching. The mood was good today, and it deserves to be. It's we talked about this. The team looked bad in that Maryland game. No doubt about it. Nobody's arguing that. But maybe that's kind of the correction that they needed. This Illinois team, every time people start counting them out, they come back and they put up a beauty like today was. Guys, Xavier's a very good basketball team. 22-12. Their metrics suggest they are a top 25 team in the country over the last couple months. Or last month and a half, I think that was the number I'm looking for. They're a very good basketball team coached by one of the best coaches in the entire country. A coach who probably may not be at Xavier next year because he's going to be coaching top Texas or another highly valued job next year. This is a game where, again, I'll get to the comments later. I know some of you are just afraid to see Sean Miller run circles around Brad Underwood in the coaching department. That simply didn't happen. I loved what Brad did early in that game. And he made Tommy Ivisic the focal point early. Everyone knows you don't have to be good at reading rosters to see that Xavier doesn't have any big guys. We talked about this on the show all week long. Morez and Tommy should be able to feast. And early, Tommy was honestly just doing his best Jokic impression. He was doing everything. He was scoring. He was backing down. And again, he didn't exactly look comfortable, but obviously that was the game plan. Hey, throw it down low to Tommy. Let him do work. And Freemantle couldn't do anything against him. By the way, Freemantle had 5 points today on 2 of 9 shooting. The one guy I was super worried about all game long, coming into the game and all game long during the game happening. And I was talking about it in the Discord, Conwell. I'm like, this guy can single-handedly make a couple threes and lead a comeback. Conwell finished with 12 points on 3 of 10 shooting, 1 of 5 from three-point land. But again, very early in the game, Brad established the fact that, hey, Xavier, we're bigger than you, and we're going to remind you that we're bigger than you every time we have the ball. And, credit to Tommy that he played a game that he isn't comfortable playing. And it's not even scoring. By the way, the biggest shocker is that Tommy only had 1 assist today. I mean, if you had asked me before I looked at this box score, and again, it's an unofficial box score, I would have told you, he probably had like 4 or 5 assists. I'll tell you, the 1 assist he did have was worth multiple. He had such a high impact on the game early in the year, or early in the game. And you know who else did? The guy who I was begging to have an impact early in the game, and that's Kylan Boswell. Kylan was the leader. He was the leading scorer of the game for most of the game until the young kids took over at the end. But it's just an all-around good effort. Xavier, Swain had the game of his life, which, of course, happens against the Illini. You'll always have a guy that you don't suspect to go off. And Swain certainly did. 27 points, 8 rebounds, 10 of 17 from the line, or from the field, 3 of 5 from three-point land. I think he had 4 3-pointers coming into today. And he had 3 today. But that was the game plan, right? Brad was like, hey, take them if you want them. If you make 3 out of 5, you earned it. But nobody else on that team scored. Conwell, who I just mentioned, had 12 points. McKnight had 12 points. Freemantle had 5. Foster had 3. Now, if you had told me coming into this game that Freemantle and Conwell, their 2 best players, combined for 17 points on 5 of 19 shooting, we know we would have come home with the W. And that's exactly what they did. The game plan was perfect. And the players executed it perfect. Speaking of perfect, 18 of 18 from free throw land? What? The Illinois? It seems like even on our best days, one of the flaws of this team has always been being at the charity stripe and just giving up free points. They didn't give up any free points today. And that's why I say, when you out-rebound a team 42-23 and you make 18 out of 18 free throws, that window of opportunity for Xavier was essentially closed. They had when Illinois is going to play like this, look, Xavier's a very good basketball team, and they beat a good basketball team just a couple days ago. It opened up a 2.5-point spread. At tip-off, it was a 4.5-point spread. And I think that was pretty fair. A lot of people were expecting a very close game. And honestly, for the most part, it was. Think about what I just said. 18 of 18 from free throw line. 42-23 rebound discrepancy. They won by 13 points. Normally, those stats would tell you that Illinois won by more. So this is why I'm trying to give credit to Xavier. They're a good basketball team who ran into a team that a lot of us Illini fans and a lot of the national media, the people who watch college basketball for a living, say, this is one of the most dangerous teams in the country. And you guys, we caught a glimpse of it today. So let's talk about the individual players because there's so many to talk about here. Okay, Will Riley, 22 points, 4 rebounds, no assists. Ivisic, 20 and 10. Kasparas, 16, 9 and 10. Kylan Boswell, 15, 5 and 2. Trey White, 7, 7 and 1. Coming up with an MVP today is very difficult because when I get to the comment section in the next segment, I'm sure there should be an even number for all 4 of those guys: Riley, Tommy, Kasparas, and Kylan. Early, it was clearly Tommy, but I kept saying throughout the game, because again, my eyes were locked on Will. Will, even before the shots were falling, when he was 0 for 3, I was saying in the Discord, guys, Will's having a really good basketball game. Mainly, it was on the defensive end. He understood the assignment, and yeah, he's small. Girth-wise, like he's not a very big, strong guy yet, and so guys can get easier shots on him. But he's learning and he's getting smarter, which is just the beauty of it. I will say, even if the season ends on Sunday, if we can all, as Illini fans, whenever you're watching this, just think back to this season that Will Riley's had, where he had the 31 points in that first game, and then up and down over the next month or so, and then he just struggled. He flat out struggled. He played like a kid who wasn't ready for the college level, or at least Big Ten basketball. He would just settle for 3-pointers that he didn't look confident shooting, but it's like he didn't even want the ball. And now, here, as we near the end of the March season, like he's one of the best players in the country. He's Again, I talked about this on Locked On Illini. I don't know if it was this past week or the week before, but I knew March is where Will Riley really could have established himself as a star. And today, he absolutely did. I know. Look, Kasparas went 16, 9, and 10, and I'm not giving him the MVP today. For me, it was clearly Will. He was the extra added boost that this team needed. That 3 and that broken play at the end of the game with maybe 3 or 4 minutes left. It's those type of moments. And it's not even that. How many times did Will attack the basket? Sure, he got called for a turnover one time because his foot stepped on the sideline, but that's not the point. It's the fact that he's so confident that in his own abilities that he even tried to make those type of plays. Superstar plays. What does that tell you? That the confidence is there. That he didn't hide from the moment. In fact, he embraced it. And to me, he's the clear MVP. Kasparas, look, before I push that go live button, I saw a lot of people complaining about Kasparas turnovers. And yeah, I get it. He had 6. But guys, Kasparas was one of the best. He was what we saw earlier on in the season. He played an amazing game today. And it's not just box score like it has been in the past, where he has a gaudy-looking box score, but we all saw and were frustrated by his play. Yeah, he made some turnovers that you wish he wouldn't make, but he did so many good things today that I'm not even thinking twice about those turnovers, of which he had 6. Again, 16, 9, and 10, but he's diving for loose balls. And if you saw him anytime he always put himself in the right opportunity to grab rebounds, to box out a Musketeer, to get back on defense. I noticed on multiple occasions. And again, it worked out. 9 rebounds for Kasparas today. There have been many times where I have and will complain about Kasparas Jakucionis' game. Today is not one of them. Again, I know he committed 6 turnovers, but I just think that some folks might just be expecting perfection. Like, he's a very good, talented young player. He's not Cooper Flagg. He's not mistake-free. He's not generational. But let's take a look at the big picture here. Kasparas' game today, both on offense and on defense, and just again, the hustle plays. For me, him diving for that loose ball. Sure, he couldn't save it. But I feel like that's what this team had been lacking ever since DGL kind of stopped playing. Because DGL is the type of guy who would bring that sort of energy. Speaking of bringing that sort of energy, 36 likes in here. We got almost 170 people. So let's get that energy up. It's a late Friday night. The vibes, come on. There's no way anyone can be disappointed with this performance today. And I'm even talking about the Underwood detractors. This is not a game that Illinois won despite the coaching staff, which some of you like to think sometimes. This was just an all-around good effort. It's very interesting to me. Our rotation just got even smaller. There was no rotation. There was 6 guys who played essentially. Well, I guess 7, but Ben, I'm not going to hate on Ben. He played 16 minutes, but he was basically O's, zeros everywhere except for 2 rebounds. It's the Will Riley show. Ivisic, KJ, Boswell, Trey White. Go out there and win us games. Morez Johnson comes in, and he's going to spell Tommy every now and then. It's interesting. They went with the Tommy and Morez lineup for a while, but it kind of played into Xavier's hands because Tommy is such a difficult matchup for even good, top 5 basketball teams, because you have a 7'1" guy, 260 pounds, who can shoot a 3, who can be a playmaker from the top of the key, and it's just hard to guard him. But when you bring Morez into the game, what happens is essentially the opponent can finally put their big just on Morez, because Morez plays more like a traditional big man, and then the opposition can put their 4 on Tommy. So Brad figured that out real quick, and notice they didn't play together really that much the rest of the game, because the team itself was rebounding just fine. Usually you want that Morez Tommy lineup in because you're going to clean the glass. They were cleaning the glass regardless. Everyone. Will Riley with 4, Ivisic with 10, Jakucionis 9, Boswell with 5, Trey White with 7, Morez Johnson with 5 rebounds in 13 minutes. Again, this is the CBS box score. Unofficial. I go live immediately after the game, so I don't know what the official box score looks like. But, who else do we want to talk about? Kylan Boswell. Again, early, he made Ryan Conwell regret showing up today. Conwell is the one player on the opposition I was very worried about. In the preview, I said the same thing. He's the type of player who I honestly could have seen go for 25, 30 and just make those 3-pointers and, put the Illini in trouble. But it never got to that point. Kylan made his life miserable. And that's what Kylan does. These are the moments we built towards. The veterans. Kylan, you're the one who's got the most amount of tournament wins or minutes. So go out there. I don't know what the freshmen are going to play like. Spoiler alert. The freshmen played just fine. Will missed his first 3 shots, and I think he made his next 8. Something along those lines. And, there was a couple of heat checks in there. That's fine. When you're shooting like that, that's fine. All right, let's get to some of your comments right after this. All right, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. We're getting so close. My goal is to hit 2,400 subs before the end of the season. Hey, technically the season could end on Sunday. So, if you're not subscribed before, I do this regardless every single day. I did it for football season, basketball season. And guess what? I'm going to be doing this even in the off season. When there's no more games to be talked about, I will be live on this channel, giving you 30 minutes of content each and every day. Hopefully, that won't be for another month or so. Hopefully, Illinois has got a lot more basketball to play. And I'm telling you, if they continue to play the way they did today, I'd be nervous if I was Kentucky. If I'm a Kentucky fan and I watch that game that Illinois just played today, I'm nervous. And you know what? If I'm a Tennessee fan and I watch the game that they just played today, I'm a little nervous. All right, let's get to some of your thoughts. Jason says ILLINI. All right. GF says, my takes. We need to cut turnovers. Cannot beat Kentucky with this amount of turnovers. Transition D needs to step it up. Too many open layups in transition. One thing to keep in mind, GF, is Xavier's game is built on their transition offense. I think I saw they were top 5 or top 6 team in the entire country. So they make a lot of teams look bad in transition. So I actually think, quite honestly, Illinois did a pretty good job getting back. Will Riley went up there. He had a block shot himself. Morez Johnson, unfortunately, did the same thing, but as is usually what happens, Morez got the whistle and got a couple foul calls. Ben Hummerkaus, who, again, yes, we know, had a very non-eventful offensive game. I thought he had some really good hustle plays just getting back on D, getting back on transition. Because, again, the scouting report was out there, and that's why I'm giving Brad his flowers today. Because everything that we already knew about Xavier, Illinois was prepared for. And that's all you can ask them to do. Again, the Musketeers are a really good basketball team. They've been playing very good as of late, winning 8 of their last 9. And even the one loss was to Marquette. And that was a very close game at the end. Jeff continues, where's Morez? He needs to be alongside Tommy more, need his physicality and rebounding. Need to value the rock more. Lots of careless passing led to a lot of turnovers. Yeah, I mean, was there a lot of turnovers? Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, 14 turnovers is way too much. I agree with you there. But again, to me, Kasparas had 6 of them. And I know it's one of those things that drives us mad. But today, Kasparas played, I would grade him with an A. It's not A+ because of that, the turnovers, but he was doing everything on the floor there, guys. Like, he is as good as I gave Will Riley the MVP, but I think Kasparas was the best player on the court today. And that's a good thing because Kasparas, if he wants to be, could be the best player on the court in every game moving forward. It's just a simple matter of, he seems like he's a little nonchalant sometimes, but today was not one of those days. And so, I've been hard on Kasparas on this show a lot lately, and a lot of you have pointed it out to me on the social medias. By the way, Locked On Illini, all the social medias, send me a message. I love getting feedback from the community. I have, over 10, 12 conversations going on every single day. And also make sure you join the Discord. But, some of you via social media think I'm a little too hard on Kasparas. And it's not that I'm being hard on him. If you watch my show on Friday, I literally acknowledged that how special of a season we got from him. We've never seen something like this from a freshman in Champaign. It's just simply one of those, I see how much he's capable of doing. And the fact that he's kind of slowed down a little bit over the past month and a half. It's been a little frustrating. But today, 0 complaints. And I'm sorry, I know some of you are going to be complaining. Mike, you say the same thing. KJ needs to work on his turnovers. Not today. I thought KJ played a fantastic game. Does he make bad turnovers? Sure. But again, he's not a perfect player. He's a freshman. He's 18 years old. And he does so much good that I'm okay with the occasional bad pass. Now, again, if he doesn't play like this and he's making those careless turnovers in a close game, of course, I agree with you. I'm upset. But today's just not one of those days. Philip, you bring up a great point. Big Ten, 8-0, 7 wins, double digits. Conversations need to happen. By the way, right after this, I'm going to be on the Big Ten Huddle with JR, and we're going to be talking about the Big Ten Conference and the impressive showing that we've had so far. Caitlin says, ILL. I. Creighton. Yeah, Caitlin. Kenosha says brackets busted, but the Illini won, so it's cool. You didn't have Illinois leaving the first round? Come on, Kenosha. More positives from GF. How about Will Riley? What a stud. I dig this pick and roll pop offense. Will Riley and Tommy playing together is such a cheat code. And I know it's not going to happen next year. Will's going to be making millions of dollars in the NBA, but my gosh. We've already seen, Will grow and get more muscle as the seasons progress. But those two are, when they're just in sync so much. And I don't know how the opposition hasn't scouted it yet, this two-man game between Tommy and Will, but let's just keep it going. Philip says Tommy took KJ's last rebound. Is that right? To get a triple-double? Oh, man, I may have missed that. Jason says the KJ haters, the Daddy Brad haters, have a seat, please. Oh, I'm sure they're coming. I'll get to those comments in a little bit as well. GF says MVP Will Riley, no questions asked. Yeah, I mean, Tommy says not going to go far with Hummer going over, just saying. I mean, Tommy, I don't know. Tommy's shots didn't go in, but he's not a good defensive player one-on-one, but he's a smart defensive player. He hustled today. I don't think he had that bad of a game. I just think his misses were pretty bad today. And so that's kind of what we all noticed, I guess. But I don't think Ben had a particularly bad game. And guys, he played 16 minutes. I think if he had a bad game, if he wasn't doing the other things, we may have seen a Jake Davis, which, by the way, we didn't see a single minute of tonight. So that I found that kind of interesting. Kellen says, Will Riley, MVP. He put them away in the second half. Fox the River says, how many NBA teams have Riley above KJ? I don't think any. Again, this is where our bias comes in. Will Riley had a fantastic game. Kasparas, in my opinion, he does more things. And so Kasparas, I think, is going to be a top 7 pick. I think it's crazy that some people have Will Riley in the second round. That's ridiculous. Will Riley is going to be a scorer at the league, and he should be probably a top 20 pick at the very least. No one says huge win, but can't keep being so careless with the ball. We only got away with that tonight because we shot the lights out. A lot of turnover talk. Tundra says got to clean up those turnovers if we want a chance against Kentucky. Randy, cut the turnovers, and we are hard to beat. I get it. Matthew says Sparkly had Xavier going to Sweet 16. Yeah, and we were joking around about that in the Discord too. I all of a sudden felt way better about this game tonight when I saw Barkley had Illinois losing tonight. No one says Will might be one of the top 10 scorers in the nation, and it's just not the thing I'm most impressed with. Is I knew he would be a good scorer, but he's a good all-around player now. Like playmaking wise, so many times he attacked the rim and made the right pass at the right time. 0 assists, but I'm telling you, if a basketball borrowed from hockey and used the hockey assist, he would have had multiple. Fox asks, Will is the reclass freshman star we hoped he would be in the offseason. Exactly right. I mean, again, I'm just saying it's like the growth of Will Riley from day 1 to month 2 to month 4 to where we're at now. Guys, if this isn't a huge feather in the Brad Underwood coaching staff, if you don't think he's showing guys like Dame Sarr or Costanza, hey, look at the Will Riley development. This is a huge recruiting boon, as it should be. Again, you come to Illinois. If you're talented, we'll take care of you. We're going to develop you. A lot of these players are getting better. Philip says, join the Discord. Oh, yeah, Matthew says, join the Discord. Sorry, the link should be in the chat, Matthew. I try to make that clear. I don't think it lets me put it in the chat. So the link is in the description. I apologize. Hap says, when we're on. We got some freshmen that don't play like freshmen. I pray we stay focused. Yeah, I mean, Sunday's going to be a dog of a game. Kentucky, I watched. I'll be honest. I try to keep myself level-headed. This may sound silly, and call me out on it if you want, but I was more worried about Xavier than I am Kentucky. And this is not saying that Kentucky is a bad team or it's an easy win. Absolutely not. Kentucky's a very good basketball team, and it's going to be a challenge to beat them. But again, look at the way Illinois dominated some of the key stats today. And Illinois only won by 13 points. They played almost a perfect game and won by 13. I think Kentucky, with some of the guys that they're missing, match up a little bit better for the Illini than Xavier does. We'll see. I don't know. Jason Long says, you guys, KJ is getting hosed on MVP consideration, diving on the ground, getting steals, and 1 rebound away from a triple-double. He was impressive. This is the silly thing, right? Like, he had 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists, and I'm not giving him MVP. But I've spent more time today talking about Kasparas than anyone else, and that's for a reason, because he was fantastic today. I just think I've talked about this on the show all week long. March is when stars are made. When the nation, people who don't watch the Big Ten, they learn about the best young players in the country from Illinois and from other teams. And I talked about Will Riley being one of those potential guys. And I think that's what you saw today. I think the people going home who aren't Illini fans, who aren't Xavier fans, the number one guy that they're talking about today is, who's that Will Riley kid? Because he stepped up big, in particular in that second half. Anytime Xavier tried to make a run, there's nothing that they can do. Global says, just cut down the turnovers against Kentucky, and we can match them shot for shot. Called it before the tourney. Illinois, Kentucky, bound to be one of the most exciting games of the first weekend. You're exactly right. Matthew brings up a great point. We talked about it. Big Ten is killing it. This conference, all season long, we've been talking about there's no great team in the Big Ten Conference. There's no Purdue from last year. I'd argue maybe there's no Illinois from last year. But maybe we're losing the big picture. And maybe we're really underestimating these guys, because Illinois and the rest of the Big Ten, again, 8-0, 7 double-digit victories. And I know there's a couple of games going on right now, which obviously I'm not able to watch, but Infinite Soul says, this is a team Brad Underwood envisioned when he started the recruiting process. This Illini team are extremely hard to beat when they play like they did today. Great win, Illini, let's go. You're exactly right. And we've been talking about that all season long. This is the vision that Brad had. Shoot threes, attack the boards, rebound the basketball, have length. Xavier, let's be honest, you could tell that Illinois was doing a great job imposing that size on Xavier. And, at one point, Xavier got resorted to basically just try to play as physical as possible to try to get the foul calls on Illinois. Sometimes it worked. Usually on Morez, it always works. But overall, again, the length, it bothered Xavier. And is it going to bother Kentucky? Probably not so much. But you're right, Infinite. This is exactly the type of roster that Brad had been building for. Nolan says, today is by far the best KJ's been in a month, especially as just a floor game. But you can't look past the turnovers. It's just not the amount of turnovers. It's the decisions that lead to them. He's been turning the ball over all season long. And that's even when he was one of the best players in the country earlier in the year. And again, I understand that you don't want 6 turnovers. And I'm not advocating in any sort of way that 6 turnovers is okay. So I want to be clear about that. You're right. 6 turnovers is too much. But I just think that I'm not going to focus too much on the turnovers, which I have in the past, because I think he played such a good all-around in every other facet today that it more than made up for the turnovers. But is he going to play this well and commit 6 turnovers again on Sunday? I mean, I doubt it. So that's why he's got to cut those turnovers in half. If you have 3, it's going to happen. But 6 is just too much, because you can't expect a guy to go 16, 9, and 10 every game. Nolan says, nailed it, Sonny. We will win every game that he shows up for. Jason says, KJ, I don't care about his turnovers, to be honest. 6, who cares? He makes this offense run. Give me a break. He led us to 30-plus points just by being a playmaker. Global, I agree with you. CBS, Illinois, Kentucky, the must-watch game. If they release the time of this game, please let me know. Because, again, I'm going on this live, so I'm focused here with you guys. I'm not seeing a lot of the Underwood. Oh, here we go. Okay. St. Dominic's Rosary, again, that's my guy, all right? But he's been an Underwood detractor all season long. So he says, trying to contain my excitement. If we beat Kentucky, I will be satisfied. Everything else is gravy. And that's interesting. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. I don't think a lot of you are going to like me saying this, but today was the game we had to win. For me, at least. I have Sweet 16 expectations, I think that's the word, every year moving forward. But with the context of this season, I think I would have not been okay, but a little more understanding if we only won one game. But God, I was so incredibly worried that we weren't going to win today. And if we didn't win today, we would have guys who, who of course, understandably be very, very upset. But, again, St. Dominic's Rosary, I'm using you as an example. I know you won't mind, who are hard on Brad Underwood. And in this case, they would have been justified. And so in my mindset, Sunday is more of a free roll. I think in my brain, they've kind of accomplished what I wanted them to accomplish. But as I said, when the brackets come out, the path is there. Sure, it's not as fortunate as last year where, who was it, Duquesne, who upset in the first round, and we got to play them in the second round. No, if we make the Sweet 16 this year, they're going to have to absolutely earn it. But just when it comes to overall big picture, I'm very satisfied with where we're at so far this season. Trail 1387, nice to see you. That's a name I don't remember seeing before. If Big T keeps playing like this, Illinois is a legit contender. That's a little bit of a stretch, but blank. I'm about it. Yeah, I've always said Tommy's our most important player. And he's just such a tough matchup for the best teams that we're going to play in the country. It's hard. Nolan Brooks says, Van Gundy said it during the broadcast. Will and KJ made a lot of money tonight. Fox River says, can this Illini team reach their potential? Yes. Will they? Only Vegas knows. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just one of those. That's what's made this season so frustrating. I've been watching every single minute of this Illini basketball season. And even who I consider myself pretty well informed. Oh, wait, by the way, some of you guys are saying the timing came out 4:15 on Sunday. Love that. Me, having watched every minute of this basketball team all season long, even I don't know which team is going to show up. I've seen one that looks like it can win all the way to the Final Four. And who knows, maybe even beyond that. But I've also seen a team that makes me so nervous that I was worried about round one against a Xavier Musketeers team, an 11 seed. Illinois comes in as a 6, facing an 11. And normally, you're supposed to feel pretty good. I wasn't. And I'm just being completely honest with you guys because that's what I do. Like, I tell you when I'm positive. I tell you when I'm not so positive. Today, coming into the game, I wasn't. Kentucky, right now, I'm looking forward to that matchup on Sunday. I'm going to be watching more Kentucky tape, and we'll see how they match up. Jason says, Kentucky does not scare me. That Carr power forward, we will work him, and their guards aren't good. We got this, Illini Nation. See, that's what I want. I want that positive energy. 85 likes, 200 plus people in here. I appreciate all of you for joining me. Tomorrow, I'm releasing a shorter episode. It's actually kind of a segment from earlier this week. Texas fired their head coach, Rodney Terry, and Brad Underwood's name is being mentioned again. Could Brad Underwood take that job? I don't think so. But, watch the episode anyway. Let me know what you think. Daryl says, hi, Sonny. I'm at work. Missed the game, but saw highlights. So proud of my Illini. As you should be. Today, Daryl, I'm telling you, you saw Illinois play an A game. It wasn't an A-plus game. And there's certainly things I'm worried about. The deepest teams we've ever had is not that deep. This team relied on 7 guys today. And even the guys off the bench played 16 minutes and 13 minutes. The starters literally played 33, 32, 37, 39, and 29 minutes. But the good thing is, we have the guys are capable of it. They didn't look tired. They didn't look winded. They were ready for the moment. And quite honestly, with this Illini team, that's all we want. Are they going to be ready for the moment? Can they play the way we want them to play? Because if they do, then I think Illinois is just in a really good shape. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Please, on your way out, make sure you hit that like button. 87 likes. I appreciate each and every one of you. Say hello to me. I'm going to be going to the Big Ten huddle right after this. So find me with JR. We're going to be discussing what went on tonight. And of course, I'll always have more content for you right here on Locked On Illini. Send me a message. Say hello. I'm going to be up all night, so I'll respond to you. I promise. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.